Shared Conversations is back. We're here. It feels good. Feels good. It's a long time, I would say. Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
sabbatical.
And now it's sabbatical. Fantastic word choice for it. And now it's changed a bit. I'm more in my interview style phase thing.
Right.
But I want to say I appreciate you showing up, being here after 6 months, a sabbatical.
Come on now.
I'm excited to share some stuff. I'm excited to hear some stuff, I should say.
Yes, sir.
But my first question, how you doing on a scale from 1 to 10?
1 to 10, I'm a 10, bro.
Really?
I am a 10. Like,
why?
Joy of the Lord, bro. Like,
Okay.
really been spending some good time in the Word, which has been fantastic. Yeah, bro, just hanging around good people, experiencing great things. So it's all by God.
Experiencing
it's all
great
by
things.
God, bro.
Halliburton getting dubs. He experiences some great things.
Come on now.
No, I feel you. I would say I'm a 10 too. It's really
Okay.
because nothing's hold me back. I'd say it's that joy too.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. It was summertime. It's hot. I'm getting on runs and stuff.
Yeah.
But man, I'm really excited to hop in here. I'm really excited to hop in because your shirts, that's it all. I'm excited because you went on UTC, right?
Yeah, UTC.
Explain that.
Yeah, so UTC it's an acronym for the Ultimate Training Camp, which is like a camp where this year we had about over 200 athletes pull up to this camp to where they learn about how to integrate God, life, and sport. But the main thing is not making your sport your identity. So what UTC does is that it takes you through a slew of training and a slew of different activities where you can learn how to put your value in God and not in your sport. And so I feel like what UTC does is that it attacks those struggles to where a lot of students, they may graduate or they may get done with their sport, they may get hurt, see a career-ending injury, and they're just like, man, like, what do I do with my life now? Like, where's my identity? They're lost. They feel like they have no purpose. But what Ultimate Training Camp does is that it gets in the way of that, and it kind of stops those identity crises from happening. So they get to introduce people to like, hey, like, if you actually put your identity in God, you have a purpose. You had a purpose before you even played your sport. So that's what it really opens up athletes' eyes to. And I've been able to go 3 times back to back in Colorado, so it's been fantastic. And I've learned something new every single time. And now I'm graduated college and being done as a collegiate athlete and still going out there to serve. It was even more of a transformative experience for me as well.
You said this was your 3rd year, so I'm curious, what are the topics or things learned on the first 2?
Yeah, so it's the same talks every year because it's always a different new wave of campers each year.
Oh, okay.
So first year I was a camper, second year I was an intern, and this year I was an alumni intern. But the first year as a camper, that was where I really got to learn, like, okay, if I'm playing basketball, I can't let this be my end all be all. I can't let this be, when I'm done, I'm all over the place. So I feel like as a camper, I got to learn, like, man, like, God really has a purpose for my life, whether that's basketball or not. He had a purpose for my life. He has a purpose for my life with or without basketball. So that's where I really got to see, like, all right, like, God is really after my heart, and he doesn't care about what I do. He just wants me, you know? And as an intern, I really got to learn how to serve. That was where I really got to learn how to be a servant of people, how to serve people well, because as an intern, you get to serve the campers well and to lead a small group as well. So I really got to learn more tangible tools on how to spread the gospel more and how to really just, like, be a servant to people. And this past year, it was very, very humbling for me because I really got to understand how to serve, but more in depth, though. Not leading a small group, but I got to serve and understand, what does serving look like without having recognition? Like, what does that actually look like? And I really got to learn that. It was very humbling because as an alumni intern, my role was kind of not being so super hands-on with the camp, but helping on everything behind the scenes. So I really got to learn a lot about myself emotionally and spiritually on just kind of where my heart posture is with those things.
What's the answer to serve and not get any of the credit?
Yeah, it's first.
How someone go about trying?
How does someone go about trying?
Or what did you learn about that? I'm curious on the start here.
I learned that first. I would just share my experience. I feel like I learned that it doesn't feel good all the time because I was used to serving and getting a pat on the back for it, right? I was used to serving and sometimes only serving to get a pat on the back, right? So now understanding like it was a heart posture check every single time I had an opportunity to serve. So I really got to see, okay, God really checked me. It was like, okay, like, who are you doing this for? It reminded me of like Galatians 1:10, like, are you doing this for the approval of men or for the approval of God, you know? And so God really put that verse on my heart to kind of like check me as like, are you doing these things for me or are you doing these things for men? So when God created these men. So yeah, bro, it's just very humbling experience.
When you showed up, do you think you showed up for you or did you show up for God?
I think that's a good question. That's a great question.
Just think of these things, bro.
I think I showed up for me, but I was open to see what God was going to do within me.
And when you left,
yeah,
did you leave focused on yourself or focused on God?
I feel like I left focused on God for sure.
Then what changed?
Yeah, what changed?
I mean, that week, right? Is it a week or 2 weeks?
Yeah, it was about a week and a half, so it's about 11 days.
Okay.
So I really got to learn about myself as like deeper, like on an emotional level, like in a deeper spiritual level as well. It's kind of like, where does God want me at? Like I learned so many different topics, which I'll share soon, but I got to learn so many things just about myself and how God actually views my life and how much he actually cares for me, and not just cares for me as an athlete, but cares for me as a person in general. So I got to learn a lot, bro. It's crazy.
Take me through what happens in these 11 days. I saw some pictures. I saw you carrying a cross, actually. I saw some pictures.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't been there. But
Right.
take me through what happens in these 11 days, you said.
Yeah, so the 11 days are, so like you're saying, the roles, you got the campers, you got the interns, and you got the alumni interns, and you have the staff. So the staff and the alumni interns are kind of together, but the campers are there for 5 days. So the real camp is for 5 days. The 11 days are for the alumni interns and the staff so that they prepare for the camp. So like the pre-camp stuff. So learning how do we prepare our hearts as leaders to pour into others as well. So those first, let's say about 5 days I was there was all pre-camp stuff where I got to be around the team of people that I was going to be with to help serve these other campers. So during this time, I got to learn more about like different topics about what does lamenting biblically look like? What does that look like? What does taking a deep dive? What is the story that God has written for you? Like stuff like that, where we have to do these emotional deep dives, which sometimes I hated it, but I enjoyed it because it did so much work within me spiritually. So just these things that we got to learn within ourselves. How do we prepare our hearts as leaders as we go into pour into someone else? Because it was a time where this pre-camp stuff is about filling up your cup. How can you get filled up so that you can pour out into others?
Yeah.
Because empty cups can't pour into other empty cups. And also learning how do we field these different campers who are going to be coming in with all different types of baggage, right? There may be some campers that never been to a Christian camp before. There may be some campers that's dealing with death or loss. There may be some campers that may be super strong in their faith. So we're learning about all these different types of campers and how do we minister to each of them well, you know? So that was what the pre-camp stuff were. And when the actual camp is going on is where the principal talks are, where you get to learn about what I was sharing earlier about not putting your identity in your sport, but in 5 different principles that we get to learn that in. And you do that through sports. We get to compete. They put you on they put you on teams with random people that you don't know from all across the country, and you get to learn, okay, what is their leadership style? What is their like teammate like style? Yeah, so you get to learn that, but how do we ultimately, within these games that we're playing, keep our focus on the sport? And then there's a 20-hour marathon within this thing.
20-hour marathon, like 26 miles, you're saying?
No, 20-hour, my bad, 20-hour event, so to speak.
Oh, I thought, y'all run a marathon 20 miles. That's like walking speed, I think.
It's a 20-hour competition.
Okay.
Where it's like a whole bunch of sports, you got an obstacle course, you got all these things. So this is where this occurs. It's called the special, and it occurs after you've learned all these 5 principles. So now it's like these 5 principles are where like this is like, as an athlete, you're watching film, you're practicing. So now that special, the competition, is game time. How do we apply these things that we learned in film? How do we apply
what
these
5
things
skills are you talking about?
So these 5 principles, they're called, one is called audience of one is called bitter over better, one is called holy sweat, one is called inside game.
Holy what?
Holy sweat.
Okay.
Yeah. So inside game, they got a whole bunch of different ones, bro.
Okay.
So those are the 5, and one is also the 5th one is victory beyond competition. So yeah, bro, they're comprised of a lot. Bro.
So you said you were alumni staff thing?
Alumni.
Also, what's the difference between staff and alumni staff? Or you said there's camper?
Yeah, camper, intern, alumni intern.
What's the difference between intern and alumni?
So intern basically they lead the small group. So I did that last year. I led a small group last year.
Okay.
So as an alumni intern, I don't lead a small group, but I help the staff run the camp behind the scenes.
Okay. So you're better than an intern, like a step up
I'm
than
not
intern.
better than
I know. Sorry, step up.
I would say I'm better, but I would step up.
Step up. Misunderstand.
Yeah.
Step up than
I'm
an
a step
intern.
up. Yeah.
But not quite a staff.
Yeah. So a staff is these people that do ministry full time. Right.
Yeah.
These people.
So you're unpaid staff.
Correct. For a week.
So you show up. There's that where you learn these things. So it's a couple days. Then the campers come for 5.
Yep.
And then you learn those 5 skills. You have a 20-hour thing. And then what happens in the last couple of days?
Yeah, so the last couple of days, so it's very transformative day. So very transformative couple of days at the end. So you have the picture you see where they're running with the cross with the 2x4 on their back to represent Christ going up Golgotha carrying his cross to the crucifixion. And that's where a lot of people are, they meet God, they get to understand what Jesus went through. And then you also have a time where people give their life to Christ at the end, and the night at the Rockies is what they call it, in the mountains in Colorado. Is super beautiful. And so I think this past year we had 14 new people give their life to Christ, and we had about I want to say about 40 people, or maybe probably more than that, rededicate their lives to Christ too. So very transformative couple of days. And so then one day after that, the campers, they end up leaving, going back home, and the interns, alumni interns, or staff are still there, and just kind of like going about post-camp stuff. How do we feel like it went? What are some areas we can improve? Stuff like that. So, yeah, bro.
Around how many people are showing up? You said 40 rededicated their lives, but how many are showing up?
So let's
rough
say
estimate.
So rough estimate, a little bit over 200 campers.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It sounds like this is a Christian camp or faith-based camp.
Yeah, 100%.
But not everybody who shows up is Christian. It sounds like.
Correct.
So why would someone want to show up to a faith-based camp not being a faith-based person?
Correct.
Like how do they sell it as a camp that people would want to show up to? Athletes, I would say.
Yeah, so I think it's because a lot of people I feel like everybody in the world is looking for something. Is looking for what their purpose is and how can they find it. And as an athlete, most people don't want their sport to be the end-all be-all, because they understand that their sport is something that's fleeting, it's temporary. Like it can end in a snap, right? So I feel like how they sell it is like, hey, bro, like the God of the universe, like he cares about you and he wants a genuine relationship with you. So with that being said, it's like, how about you come to this camp where you can learn about how to get your true identity from God and not in your sport. So I would feel like that's how they sell it. But of course it's built through different relationships on different other campuses at school. Like for example, in Detroit, like my mentor, he came to me about it. He told me about it, but it was through a relationship that he built with me. So it's more like, it's not just saying like, hey, like you're not a Christian, come to this camp. It's like, it's through relationship, you know? And that's just kind of how the same thing how Jesus did with his ministry, is that he built relationships with his disciples, right? And then he told them to come follow me, but on the way he built his relationship with his disciples too.
So how do they in 5 days show campers, I guess we'll call them, how they show those campers how to have value in their life after sports? Like what are they doing in those 5 days to make them see that, to help them see
It's all through those 5 principles. So the 5 principles are basically like, there are 5 different, let's say in church terms, there are 5 different sermons that we will listen to.
Oh.
Yeah, so there are 5 sermons that we listen to, and they have a notebook, notepad, everything. Then you have the interns who have these 4 different specific campers who lead the small group to double down on these questions, to ask them. So like you have a sermon, and then you have the discipleship group. So then after you hear the sermon, you go speak with your discipleship group about what stuck out to you and such. So
the disciple groups are how big? Because you said 200 kids, around how many is in each
so
group?
There's 1 intern in the discipleship group, and then there's 4 campers.
Wow, so it's intimate.
Yeah.
I mean, real discussion. Like you're very open. I'm guessing it's guys with guys and relays with ladies. Yeah. And so what how did you handle being last year, not this year, last year being just an intern,
Yeah.
not this higher up, not better than, but this higher up level now that you are.
No.
Last year, how did you handle the discussions?
Yeah, I think we talk about it all the time on our podcast. It's like vulnerability breeds vulnerability. So within those small groups, I had to learn like, okay, how can I be vulnerable with people that I don't know what they're going through, but I just want to be able to share experiences that I've been through, experience how God has worked in my life through certain struggles. You know what I'm saying? So, but I genuinely had a blast leading a small group because I got to build so many good relationships with those. I had 3 guys with those 3 guys that I was in a small group with, and I got to lead them. So, but it was all about just leading with vulnerability and like also reminding them of Christ's truths as well. So, it's kind of like you read the word, and every time you read the word, you could read something for 60 times, and you always get a new meaning every single time. So even as an intern, I was still going through the same things that they were going through as campers. You know what I'm saying? So it was really good to just like be in a small group and understand how to lead also as well.
I'm going to be very honest. I rode bench 9th grade in basketball. Okay. So most would say I'm not an athlete per se in terms of hand-eye coordination. So what types of vulnerability is happening in these groups? Like are you being vulnerable about your sport?
No, you're being vulnerable about everything. Life.
Like what topics?
Life in general. So you just talk about your girlfriend, stuff like that. Wow. Your sport, how bad your coaches are treating you, what's going on at home, like all those type of things you can be vulnerable with. Like it's a sports-based camp, but it's like you can't build a relationship with somebody just based off sports. You want to know something else about them as well. The same thing about like with us. Like we have this podcast, we built the relationship with each other through this podcast as well. But that's not the only thing I know about you. I know so much more about you as well. Exactly.
Maybe too much.
So I know so much more outside of that. You know, so it's about building those relationships and asking those deep questions, and also presenting those deep questions within yourself as well.
What pushed you to show up as a camper on your first time all those couple years back?
Yeah, bro. I think what pushed me to go as a camper it was something that I wanted to be around God's people and be around other athletes that go through the same struggles as me as well. And also the community at UTC is unmatched. Like,
really?
I've met some of my best friends who I've spent 10 days with them in a week, and I'm like, this person's going to be at my wedding, like 100%.
At it or in it?
At it.
Okay.
They're gonna be in it too. They're gonna be in it.
Stand up.
Both.
Have you met some people that are gonna be on the other side of the aisle in your wedding?
Not yet. Not yet.
Go plead the fifth, but have that cut out in the editing process.
Yeah, please.
No, we keeping it. But I'll make a note. Please keep this to my person who edits. What would you say would be the most? That wouldn't make sense. I'll say this. What of the 5 principles hits you best?
That's it's called Inside Game. And so the question that comes with the principle Inside Game is, what motivates me? And so that hit me different because it got to show me the things that motivate me in life. And so they have like a chart where it's like, what motivates you? And they have this chart of things, like things that the world can give. Is it fame? Is it girls? Is it pleasure? Is it this? Is it that? Or is it God? Is it community? Like fame? Like all that type of stuff that like it shows you like what motivates you. And so with that principle, it always makes me take a deep dive within myself. It's like, what is motivating me in life? Is it the right things, or is it the things that God says about me, or he wants me to do, or is it things that the world gives or that the world says they can give to me?
And what's the answer?
I think it's for me, being a human, it's selfishly, I would say sometimes, most of the time, majority of the time, it's the thing that the world can give. It can be money, it can be fame, it can be notoriety, it can be girls, pleasure. But also on the flip side, there's times where I'm trying to work to that spot to where it's like it can be God, and it can be, family. It can be these healthy things that motivate me as well too. So that one always hits me because it always makes me do a heart check within myself as well, every single time.
And your heart check showed you what this time?
This time. Yeah, this time.
What did your heart check show?
This time, like I shared before, like it showed me that I wanted to have recognition. That's what it showed
Same
me.
here.
That's what it showed me this time around because, like I said, being hands off of the camp and having to serve without being noticed. Hey man, like great job, you doing it. No, like that got to show. Okay, I was motivated by recognition. So
I think you're hitting on a fantastic point here because I would say that my largest struggle in life is pride. Right? I think I'm smart. I think all these different things. What I've learned is in me wanting to be known, what I actually want is people's acceptance. And then I gotta ask, why do I actually want people's acceptance? And what I found is I want their acceptance because I believe that if they give me acceptance, I'll feel better about me. But what I've actually learned is when I get the acceptance, I really don't feel any better at all.
Right.
I've talked to people who have sold out 70,000 people stadiums, and they said it made their pockets nicer, but didn't really make them feel better about themselves. That's just me personally. I'm curious, why are you wanting to be known?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I heard this. I was at a Bible study the other day, and it talked about to be fully loved is to be fully known. And I think for me, it's a point of wanting to be loved. I think it's the same thing, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be accepted by society. For me, it's like I want everybody to like me. It's like that people-pleasing type of deal for me. So I think it's like that for me. I think it's a love issue, but I think with it being a love issue, it's only a void that God can fill. I don't think anything else can fill it. I don't think fame, money, girls, anything, notoriety from people, like it's only God that can fill that void for me.
I think you're spot on. I think that I just spot on because I've tried the girls. I've tried being known. I've tried making extra cash. I've tried all the different things. And sure, it might give me spouts of happiness, spouts of success, but in the end, I always feel more empty because I believe that every human heart has a hole in it shaped for God.
Yeah.
Until we fill that hole with God, we're always going to feel empty afterwards.
Right.
It sounds like y'all athletes. I said bench on ninth grade. I never tried to fill sports with it. But it sounds like these athletes, and this is a question, not a statement, are trying to fill that hole with their sport essentially.
Correct. Yeah.
And then they're learning at this camp that the sport won't work. Whether you have 7 championships, the sport won't work.
Right.
What have you seen from people who didn't attend this camp, had success in sports, maybe in college or pros, and it ended? How do they feel afterwards?
Yeah, I think from the outside looking in, I see just like what I was sharing is like an identity crisis. People are like, what am I gonna do now? Because it's like if you're conditioned for something your whole life and that thing is taken away or snatched in a second, you're searching for, what's next, And so what I've seen is like people sometimes just go off the deep end and just like, man, like I just don't know what I'm here for anymore. Like I just don't know. I thought basketball was my whole life. So I think what is it? The average human life expectancy is about 77 years old.
Yeah.
75 years old.
77
like,
pushing it.
Yeah.
You must be a vice president or a president if you're 77.
But it's like, you think you're gonna be playing basketball or playing football until you 75?
Uncle Drew.
So it's like when you like, I've seen people have an identity crisis and they're just like, man, like this was the only thing that was able to fill that void or to bring me happiness, but now that that's gone, what's gonna do that now? And so some people run to certain unhealthy vices. Some people run to the world. And so, like you said, like the camp is like, man, like how can we nip that problem in the bud early so that we can show you that you have a God-shaped void and we can fill that with God, because your sport's not going to fill it. Like fame is not going to fill it. Money's not going to fill it. Whatever, pleasure is not going to fill it. But it's like it's only God that's going to be able to fill that void.
How would you, if you could go back, because you said that your collegiate career is over, right? You're at college. If you could go back to, I would argue, even high school, 9th grade, how would you handle sports differently in your head?
Yeah.
With the knowledge that you now have now.
That's good. I would see sports as a privilege, not a priority. I would see it as a privilege to where, not to a point to where I don't care about it, but to a point to where it's like, this is a gift from God. Kind of like how it talks about in Ephesians 2, like, for it is by grace you have been saved, not of your own doing, but it is a gift from God. Like, same thing. It's like, well, not as big of a step, but it's like your basketball or whatever. It's like, for me, it was a gift from God. So being able to view it like that, and if it's a gift from God, I'm gonna value it, you know. So like seeing it as a privilege, like, dang, God, you really allowed me to play this game, like seeing it like that, but I'm not placing my whole identity into it and understanding where it came from. I think that was where I was skewed my whole athletic career, is, well, except towards the end, is like understanding where this game came from. I thought, oh, it came from me. I got myself here, but it's like, no, God placed you here. You know, He put you in this position. So seeing where it came from, like, shifting my perspective.
I like how you really wouldn't change how you played it. You would change how you saw it.
Right.
And I would argue a lot of things in life, we don't have to change how we do it. We really just got to change how we see it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in how we see it, it might change how we do it.
Yeah.
How would you handle, and I'm talking a question that, I mean, I would hope we got 10 years here. How would you handle putting your kids in sports?
That's good. I think I would love my kids to see sports. To see sports as a gift. Like, you know, like, when you get a gift from somebody and it's a gift, you value it, you take care of it. And I want them, my future kids, to be able to see, like, this is a gift from God. This is not something where it's supposed to be given to you. No, this is a gift. Because, like, there's people who have torn their ACL 3 times, like career-ending injuries, you know, and they wish that they could be able to see that. They wish they could still play the games, whatever, till this day. So it's like, I would just tell them, like, this is a gift. Like, you don't have to don't view it as a priority, but see this as a gift from God. Because when you see it as a gift from God, you'll value it automatically because you understand who it comes from.
I like that so much, because I think of a kid at Christmas or even me.
Yeah.
When someone gives me a gift, even if I don't like the gift, I respect it so much because of who gave me the gift. So if you're giving me a gift, I'm gonna hang it up my house or something. In the same way, if we saw a sport as a gift, that would be big. But then to see that the gift is from God Himself,
right,
that would be a game changer.
Yeah, and I think it will also change our reverence for God as well, our fear for the Lord, how much respect we have for Him. Because it's like, man, like, after He gives us He gave us this because, like, He loves us, He wants us to enjoy. Like, it says in John 10:10, like, Jesus, He said He came to give us life and life more abundantly, right? And so with this game, it was a gift that He can make you have life and life more abundantly as well, on top of the other things that He called us to live in. But it's like, just having that perspective change, instead of like, this is something that I'm obligated to have, but no, this is something that is a gift. This is a gift. This is something that I've been granted to have by God.
Can you share a highlight from being at this camp on this past couple months? Yeah.
Yeah.
This past month.
The community, being around some of your, like, best friends for 11 days when they have you in college dorms where you guys stay.
I'm scared of y'all.
We have so much fun because we have so many deep talks, so many just conversations just centered around the Lord. Like, we can do anything. Like, we go walk 30 minutes somewhere and we'll just be talking, just having a blast, just because of the relationship that we have. So my highlight is always the community and what we've been able to build, just build within a family of believers as well too. So, but I also say a highlight too, it was like, I saw people running up Golgotha with the cross. Like, I was just like breaking down crying because as these people ran their journey going down and came back up with the cross, like, it represented how, like, people are coming to Christ. Like, people are entering the kingdom, like, one by one, one after the other. And I was just breaking down crying because it's like, man, like, this is literally like what the kingdom of heaven looks like. Like, this is what it looks like, where people are coming and they're leaving, they're dropping all their baggage, they're dropping their sin, they're dropping their old identity, their old habits, and they're walking in the newness of Christ, the newness of life that Christ grants to them, bro. So those are my 2 highlights, man. Just seeing people people rededicate their life to Christ and give their life to Christ for the first time. Like, it's amazing to see, because it's like, like these are my brothers and sisters in Christ now. Like they don't even understand the kind of life that God has for them, in the future. So
I'm almost hearing it. I can't imagine seeing it in person.
Dude.
Can you share a story? 'Cause I like how you've shared some stuff about what you've experienced. Can you share a story of something that you've seen God do at this camp? It can be from this year or past years. A cool story of something that you saw God do at this camp. Obviously, people were saved.
Yeah.
But anything else?
I think it's like how I love seeing people get saved, but in the way that it goes about it though. Like
We'll share how it goes about it.
I've seen a camper come in super prideful, super like, man, this camp's gonna be easy, man. Like I'm just here to sports. I'm just here to compete. Like coming in with so much pride, so puffed up in their self and what they can do and their own abilities, and then going through that 5 days, watching them getting broke down, and understanding, wow, like I can only get strength like this from the Lord. Like I can only, like God is literally humbling them through this camp so that they would draw near to Him during this time. And seeing these people go from one camper go from one of the most prideful people I ever met.
Don't drop names.
I ain't dropping names.
You edit that out for sure.
To be one of the most lowly and like humble people after the camp, after just understanding, man, like only God got me through this, It was God carrying me through this, and not even just physically, but spiritually and emotionally as well.
I know, but as we read His Word, I think it's clear that only the humble get into the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
I think something I tell a lot of people about share openly. I struggle with pride, being self-centered. That's probably even rooted in some insecurity too, but the first sin, I believe, was pride. That was Satan in heaven. And 100%. So if the first sin is pride, I would say that's the worst sin, Adam and Eve, pride. And so I think it's an interesting thing how pride is what kills us, but humility is what fills us up. Humility is what gets us to God. Humility is how we connect to God.
Right.
And pride is how we push God away, or I would say we push ourselves away from God. And so I think it's awesome seeing that one of the best experiences here is you seeing these people, seeing these campers change from being prideful and self-centered to being more like Christ and more humble. 'Cause I think what was the most humble thing that Jesus ever did was come down to earth. It wasn't die. Dying is fantastic. It saves us all. That's fantastic. But we forget the first part, that God in heaven came down to earth. I enjoy business and math and numbers. And so I think it's like me owning a business. And then being the janitor at this business.
Exactly.
It's like, bro, I own this thing. Like God owns earth. It's His creation.
Exactly.
And He comes and he chooses to serve it.
Literally.